The devil has come to collect his due, or soul, but much to his surprise, he has to wait in line. The smell of brimstone filled the room as the devil himself tore his way into the earth realm. He adjusted his signature red bow tie as he let the flames of his entry portal die down around him, a smug half-grin on his face. He expected to be greeted by a gasp, a scream, or even a sob. Some form of distress was pretty routine when it came to this sort of thing. Except, that's not what happened at all. Not this time.
"Oh, great," a feminine voice sneered. "You're here too. It's really a party now." "Excuse me?" The ruler of demons blinked hard as his eyes adjusted into the dim room, which was filled with far more bodies than he'd expected. Well, bodies was a strong word to describe the array of non-corporeal beings in front of him. One of the more squat figures stepped forward from the shuffling, quietly murmuring crowd, her gait intensely familiar. "You're excused," the woman, if she could be called that, replied curtly. "Your brimstone and sulfur shtick isn't, though. Seriously, Shy, why are you so into smelling like a rotten egg?" The nickname drove the familiarity home in an instant. "Echidna?" She snorted, rolling her 3 sets of eyes in unison. "Don't make it weird, Shy. You can still call me Edna." Shaitan cleared his throat uncomfortably. He was here to collect a soul for a contract, and he certainly hadn't intended on encountering his ex here. What are you doing here?" the devil asked, his infamous silver tongue failing him in the heat and surprise of the moment. "We," Echidna corrected, gesturing around the room, "are all here for the same reason as you." She angled her chin toward the hall leading out of the room toward the bedroom. "For the soul contract." There were quite a range of affirmatory grunts and groans from around the room. The devil recognized quite a few cosmic beings amongst the gathered group. Friends, acquaintances, adversaries, and even family. Even Cthulhu was here, his current mortal vessel made distinguishable by the tentacles writhing where the eyes should be, one of his signature looks. "How is this possible?" Shaitan asked, his annoyance building. "It was promised to me." A wolfish bark of a laugh sounded from the assorted group before Echidna could even answer. A dog-headed man came forward, his gold earrings and bangles glinting in the dim light. "That's not exactly true, old friend." The devil couldn't believe his eyes. "Set? You're here too? Somebody explain this immediately." "Watch your tone," Set growled. "We're not your little demon lackeys, bud. We don't answer to you." "Fine." Shaitan folded his arms with an indignant huff, taking a deep breath to regain some composure. "Still, I was promised a soul. That is not deception." "Really?" Echidna asked, her second mouth smirking beneath the one that was currently speaking. "What were the exact words of the soul pact?" "I don't remember. It was a pretty run-of-the-mill soul pact." Truth be told, Shaitan rarely actually read the things. It was always the same nonsense. A soul in exchange for wealth, power, beauty, love, etc., etc. Humans so easily gave up their one truly precious possession in exchange for fleeting, temporary bliss. His side of the deal was always the better side. Set chuckled in his ugly hyena-esque way, the bare muscles of his torso flexing with the movement. "Who was the proposal addressed to?" Shaitan frowned, trying to remember the hologram he'd only skimmed. "Well, Me, I presume. Why else would it have been delivered to me? Echidna clucked her tongue, shaking her head. Same old shy. The addressee, if you'd cared to actually read the whole thing, wasn't actually a name nor a title. It was to the most badass being in the multiverse. The divine messengers couldn't decide, so we all got the pact. There's no way, the King of Hell scoffed. What is he, 10? Shaitan's cousin, Hades, came forward, twisting one of his bone rings in annoyance. It doesn't matter. The stupid mortal pulled a Trojan War on us. The absurdity of the situation fully struck him then. All of these supremely powerful beings gathered in a standoff of the ego. All the devil could do was laugh. I am not sure what's so funny, old Apophis hissed in his familiar serpentine way, his long body coiled in one of the corners of the room. Somebody must collect the soul. It is divine law for a cosmic pact. Yeah, thanks, Apoph. Didn't need the refresher of universal legalities. Shaitan sighed, rubbing his temples. Apophis's sibilant hissing had always rubbed him the wrong way. So what? We're all here debating who deserves the silly-ass title of most badass? Echidna shrugged, glancing around in at least 3 different directions simultaneously. You're the expert on pride, Shy. Do you think any of these megalomaniacs are gonna just yield? I'm honestly surprised it hasn't gotten violent. Hasn't gotten violent yet, Hell grumbled from against the wall, tossing and catching one of her knives in languid ease, an unspoken threat. The room grew tense. Everybody seemed to be sizing up on another, weighing their chances against their fellow divinities. The devil himself felt he could probably take most of them, but was it really worth the work? Maybe it would be easier to just go back to hell, punish a sinner or two to clear his mind. Hi! A young, excited voice cut through the tension in the air like an arrow. The group had been so preoccupied with intimidating one another that nobody had noticed that a little girl had entered the room. You guys actually came! She said, her curly pigtails bouncing as she clapped excitedly. I knew you would! All sets of eyes came to land on the small child that had emerged from the hallway. The devil has seen some shit. As the superintendent of suffering for the world's sinners, he dealt with evil in countless forms. Very little surprised him at this point. This kid, however, this little girl couldn't be more than 8 years old. Her face was streaked with tears and dirt, and her rich brown skin had dark marks on it that made Shaitan's stomach twist. Where are your parents, child? Seth asked, cocking his canine head. Surely it was not you who put out the summons. Nope, it was me, the kid declared, beaming proudly. I found all my grandma's old spooky books. She giggled as if she hadn't been toying with arcane rituals. Seriously? Nergal, who had been lounging lazily across the couch, scoffed. A kid? I don't do kids. What a frickin' waste of time. I'm out. He dissipated into a shadowy fog without another word. Probably half the room did the same, thinning out the herd considerably. Among the exiting flourishes, Shaitan spied a flock of crows, a miniature sandstorm, and a rattling cloud of bones. That tracked, Morrigan, Apophis, and Lovitar had never been fond of children. Aww, did I do something wrong? The little girl asked, visibly deflating a bit. Not in the slightest, my dear. Now, your parents, child, Echidna said in that gentle voice she reserved for her offspring, striding forward to kneel in front of the girl. "Where are they?" The girl's proud grin faltered. A grimace of anguish flashed across her face. "My parents." Her voice broke and she sniffled, seeming to lose her grit for a second. She shook her head as if to shake off the pain, setting her jaw and squaring her shoulders before she continued. "Well, Mama and Papa got into a fight, I think. Papa locked me in my room. There was lots of yelling and thumping, and then I didn't hear Mama anymore." The little girl's voice grew soft with this last statement, but she pushed through. "I heard Papa start his truck, though. I think he took Mama somewhere, 'cause I couldn't find her when I got out." She trailed off, her eyes becoming distant. Shatan glanced at Hades, arching a questioning eyebrow. "Her mother passed through the gates earlier tonight," the Lord of the Underworld whispered, confirming the devil's suspicion. "I remember the face. She looks just like her." "Fine, I'll bite. Why did you put out the summons, kid?" Lilith asked before the devil could process Hades' statement. She sat up in the overstuffed armchair she'd been lounging in, a whimsical, playful expression on her beautiful face. "'Cause I need help, of course," the little girl said, as if it was a duh-level common-sense deduction. "Right, naturally," Echidna said, giving the girl a reassuring squeeze of the shoulders. "I can't go find Mama by myself," the little girl continued. "And if she's gone, gone for real, Papa scares me. I'd rather be taken care of by an ultra badass like my ma." The girl's grin returned, her eyes sheepish. "I'm not supposed to say that word, but that's what my mama is." The remaining deities and entities in the room, Cthulhu, Lilith, Echidna, Hel, Set, Hades, and Shatan, exchanged a series of glances. An unspoken understanding passed between them, the little girl's strife pulling at all of them. A truce was in order. "How about this?" Echidna said, taking the girl's hands. "Hel, Cthulhu, and Set can go looking for your parents. The rest of us can take care of you in the meantime. How does that sound?" Tears welled up in the little girl's eyes, her bottom lip quivering in a way that entirely bypassed the devil's eternity of built-up emotional barriers. "No tears," the mother of monsters murmured, taking the little girl's hand. "What's your name, little one?" "Serena," she said through her quivering sniffles. Echidna took Serena in her arms, holding her on one hip as she turned towards the group. "So, Hela, Cthulhu, Set, you three can be in charge of finding her parents. The rest of us can share custody of the child in the meantime. That work for everyone?" Cthulhu's mortal vessel, currently a young woman's form, stepped forward in the halting, unnatural way that was signature of the Eldritch Ones, the body's arms bent at a strange and odd angles. "I would like to stay with the child as well." "Gee, I never took you for a kid person, Cthulhu," Satan chuckled, amusement growing in the dynamic developing here. "I am not a person. I am beyond mortal comprehension. I do, however. I love children." Echidna shrugged. "Okay, sure. Hela, Set, can you handle it?" Set snorted. "Of course we can. It's just some mortal." Hela grunted in agreement, her sharp teeth showing ever so slightly beneath her grin of anticipation. The one thing that united the gods gathered tonight? They all thoroughly enjoyed punishing the deserving, a category which almost certainly included Serena's father. Set picked up a boot from the shoes gathered by the door. He inhaled deeply, canine nostrils flaring. We'll find him, Serena. Worry not. And my mama too? The Egyptian god winced, hesitating. Yes, and your mama too. Thank you, Serena shouted. Do you want a treat, doggy man? Shaitan tensed. He knew of mortals that would have been vaporized by Set for less egregious comments. I am quite all right. And please call me Set, he said through gritted teeth. Until we meet again, Serena. He nodded at Hela, and the two set off from the wooden cabin toward the woods surrounding the area. Well, how about you, Serena? Echidna asked, bouncing the small girl on her hip a bit. Do you want a treat? How about ice cream? Serena's eyes grew large with the pure, authentic excitement only children could muster. Ice cream? Yes, please! Echidna turned toward the remaining group. What about you lot? Ice cream, anyone? Satan laughed, once more struck by the absurdity of the entire situation. Sure, my night's pretty open. Lilith shrugged. I'm game. Well, I guess I'm already in the overworld, Hades said, clapping his hands together. When in Rome. Cthulhu nodded in agreement, a jerky, thoroughly disconcerting action to witness. I believe this vessel is lactose intolerant. I hope they have gelato.